People who have bought a stranger a drink at the bar. How did it go? Story 1. I was once bored at my table with friends and witnessed two people exchange glances further at the bar, but no initiative. So I bought 2 drinks, asked the bartender to give it to them separately and say the other bought it. That was a very fun scene to witness from afar. They ended up chatting all night and leaving together. Story 2. An older lady who was deep in a conversation with her friend quietly had the bartender get me a drink. She never looked or said anything to me, had her back to me talking to a friend. I thought it was nice, said buy her one back. The bartender then said she isn't trying to have anything happen, she's just being nice. Yeah, of course. She's literally had her back to me all night. I didn't even pay her any mind. So I said, I know, I'm just being nice too. And the bartender acted like I was trying to get with her. But she got the other girl a drink and we went back to not interacting whatsoever. Eventually, I got sufficiently drunk and went home. Story 3. My wife and I were at a happy hour at a local Mexican restaurant. Pre-COVID, they would lay out an impressive spread of buffet food for free. Drinks were $2 off. We would drop our sons off nearby for basketball practice and sometimes go for happy hour. So one Friday night, just after we arrived, an older couple, late 60s or early 70s, arrived and ordered their drinks. We shared the same waiter, and we told him we wanted to pay for their drink. Great! Until they proceeded to absolutely pound margaritas, 3 drinks to our 1. After about 90 minutes, we were finishing our second and last margaritas, and they were finishing their 6th margarita each. So we waved down our now busy waiter and clarified we would pay for their first drinks and not the 5 subsequent rounds. The waiter laughed and said he hadn't even told them of our offer yet. Phew. Story 4. I'm a guy. A man bought me a drink once. I was fucking stoked. I thought he wanted to talk sports. There was a lot of bro talk. I bought him the next round to pay him back, and then I continued on with my night with my buddies. The next day I realized what was going on and gave myself a little high five. Story 5. I was the designated wingman, deployed to get the convo started. Early in the evening, we saw a group of cute girls. Tipped the bartender $5 to get them each shots of water. When it arrived, they looked over at us. We tipped our glasses to them. They cheered back, clanked glasses, and down the hatch. Oh, the look on their faces. My bros did not know how to follow up with banter and striked out as soon as they come over to chat us up. Story 6. I remember seeing a cute girl at a bar in the early evening. One guy bought her a drink, which the bartender delivered. A different guy did the same. She smiled and waved thanks to them. I flagged the bartender down and ordered her a water. She laughed and we chatted a bit. That was the end of it, though. Story 7. I bought a drink for a woman one time. Hadn't made eye contact, no proof she was aware I existed. My biggest problem was that my friend that was with me hadn't had enough liquid courage to get up and go talk to her himself. I pulled the waitress aside, asked her to buy this woman whatever drink she wanted on my tab, but tell her it was from my friend. I received a text message at 3 a.m. from my friend that same morning that said, "If I marry her, you're going to be the best man at my wedding." Best part is that I have probably one of the greatest photos of me in a tux on their wedding day. Story 8. The bartender gave me a glass of water that I didn't ask for, but hey, I like water. He immediately said, "Oops, that water was for her," and indicated a blonde sitting a few feet away. She was watching all of this, so I picked up the glass of water while making eye contact and licked all around the top of the glass. She laughed and came over and asked if she could join me. Story 9. She flirted me up a bit. She told me she was there for her friend's birthday, so if I wanted to buy her a drink, I needed to get a round for all her friends. I bought all 5 of them drinks. She took the drinks to their table and ignored me for the rest of the night. Next time, a woman flirted me up at the bar. I went to order a drink, and she asked me to get her one. I bought her a drink, and she immediately walked away from the bar and didn't really talk to me the rest of the night. Story 10. I was at my usual bar in college, and it was totally empty that night, but I was friends with the bartender. These 2 guys came in, and I overheard it was one's 21st B-day, so I bought him a drink, and we got to talking. They were brothers, and the older one was extremely hot. Last call rolled around, and we go to walk home, and they lived a block from me, and we walked together. I ended up asking if they wanted to drink more at my place, and we polished off a bottle of whiskey and hung out until daylight. I'm married to the big brother now, been together 10 years, and he's still astonishingly hot. Story 11. Sometimes when I'm visiting an unfamiliar bar occupied by a regular crowd, I'll ask the bartender to buy the house around. I'm talking hole in the wall, but friendly vibe type of place. Even if there is 15 to 20 people, it is not a wallet breaker if I'm expecting to cover $100 or so. Toss a nice tip on top and you are pretty much family at that point. I've never had a negative experience, and I've made some quick friends in what would have been an evening drinking among strangers. And typically I get a number of drinks in reciprocation. It's not an every time thing because sometimes I want to drink quietly among strangers. Oh, and P.S. You should have a story ready as to the reason you are buying, even if BS. Something to warrant the gesture but not make me a mark. My go-to, if asked, is, grandson was born today and I wanted to celebrate with others. Story 12. 100% said thanks. 60% reciprocated. 99.9% acquaintance level or greater friendship achieved. 0.1% became close friend then turned enemy, but had nothing to do with first or 1,000th drink. Like all great stories, it was because of the fact that we showed each other what we hated about ourselves. And due to youth, we could not see the truth of it. Lost contact. Can't repair. Story 13. Me, M28. I have too many of these stories as I am quite extroverted and like connecting with strangers. Two of my favorite ones. Me and a friend were broke backpackers on a boat trip to a deserted island for a day. Started chatting with the man across from us, and eventually he invited us to join dinner in a nice beach restaurant where he had ordered some special local food in the days before. Had a great time. Then a day later we met him in the bar again and he just told the waiter to put all our drinks on his tab. What a legend. Planning on paying this forward when I have the chance in the future. Went to a rooftop bar in Germany. Started talking very broken German to a man that just hopped in the elevator with us and asked how he was doing. Once we were in the rooftop bar, everything was full. Turned out this man was the manager of the place and got us a table, drinks, and even directed some female guests to our table. Fun nights. Story 14. My buddy was interested in this girl and wanted to go dance with her, but her friend wanted to leave. Trying to be a good wingman, I bought her a drink. This girl that I had been talking to earlier came up to me and said, "You fucked up. We were gonna take you home with us." She was holding hands with another girl. Instead of doing the smart thing and explaining it, I was an idiot and said, "Bullshit, you aren't together." They proceeded to make out in front of me and walked out. Edit. Okay, this got some upvotes, so I will do a better job of explaining and include more details. This was a while back in California. Me and some friends were out in our downtown area at a local bar. The bar isn't huge, but big enough to have a DJ and dance floor. Towards the end of the evening, I was outside on the patio with a couple friends socializing with various people out there. I was talking to a girl, we'll call her Amanda. She was average looking, we weren't flirting, just having a nice chat. I was ready to call it a night, so I tell her it was great to meet her and I head back inside. I ask my friend Jake if he wanted to split a cab home. Jake says he's trying to talk to this girl and he motions to this beautiful girl next to him at the bar. He tells me she wants to hang out, but her equally hot friend wants to leave. So, okay, I'll try to talk to the friend. Hopefully they will stay a little longer. Jake takes his girl to the dance floor and I start talking to her friend. It quickly becomes obvious that she has no interest in talking to me and just wants to leave. So, next idea, I say, "I'm getting a drink. Do you want one?" "Sure." I order the drinks, hand one to her, and we go to a table to watch our friends on the dance floor. I get a tap on the shoulder, turn around to see Amanda and her friend. Amanda says, "You fucked up." I get a confused look on my face, so she clarifies, "We were going to take you home. I saw you buy that girl a drink." In my head at that instant, I'm thinking Amanda probably liked me and was upset seeing me buy the girl a drink and wanted to make me regret it by pretending that I missed out on a threesome. Now, I should have just explained what was going on to her, but I was an idiot and made it worse. "Bullshit, you two aren't together." Amanda looks at her friend and raises her eyebrows to ask, "Should we?" Her friend apparently agreed, and they kiss. They kind of got into two for a few seconds, really showing me what I was missing out on. They walked out together, and I contemplated my stupidity. I was pissed at myself and didn't want Jake to feel bad, so I didn't tell him until years later. Story 15. While halfway around the world in Florence, I overheard two girls sitting at the bar beside me talking about how one of them had recently finished her med tech program. I was genuinely happy for her and said, "Hey, I couldn't help but overhear, but wanted to just say congrats and bought them both a shot." I wasn't trying to hook up with either of them and just wanted to do something nice for a pair of travelers like myself who were celebrating a big achievement. We ended up drinking, talking, and partying all night, and I had new travel buddies for the next 2 weeks of my trip. When we had to go our separate ways, we ended up keeping in touch and would randomly get together in some other foreign place every year or so if all the timing worked out. Unfortunately, now we're all super busy with our careers and families that we haven't chatted in years, but I still think of them all the time and hope they're doing well. To Kelly and Lindsay, I love you guys. Story 16. I was working on a cruise ship in US, and in the summer of 2005, I decided to spend my 2 months vacation in Las Vegas, instead of going home in Eastern Europe. The plan was to stay at some good friends in Henderson, but for the first week they were away, so I got a room at the Stratosphere Hotel. In the first evening, tired after traveling and with no plans, I went down to the hotel's PT's sports bar, looking to unwind and scout the environment. It was some important game, so the bar was full and very animated. As I was sipping from my beer sitting at the bar counter, I see a beautiful young woman making her way through the mob, reaching the bar 20 feet away from me and trying to get the bartender's attention to order something. He was right next to me, and I made him aware of her, and also told him that whatever she's ordering, it will be on my tab. She graciously accepted, and, with the drink in her hand, she made her way towards me. What followed after is still a blur in my mind, but whatever I remember is seared deep down in my memories, never to be forgotten. We talked and drank for a couple of hours, and around 11 p.m. she convinced me to take her to a nightclub, where we drank again and smoked some powerful weed, and I freaked out inside because I had the feeling I cannot control anything anymore. Then around 1 a.m. she took me to a hotel with a cowboy bar where I rode a mechanical bull. We drank again, and she taught me to line or barn dance, and it felt great, although I was the only metalhead on that huge dance floor filled with typical cowboys and cowgirls. Then we drank some fancy cocktails in another bar with an outside terrace where every table had some nice lit pink and blue artesians for every table. Don't remember much, but I have the feeling now that it was a gay bar. Then at 4 a.m. we ended up in my hotel room, where I had one of the best sex of my life for a couple of hours, not going into details, until we both fell asleep, while the sun was rising over the strip. Around 10 a.m., she wakes up scared, starts putting her clothes on, repeating on and on that she's late, and when I asked her to stay for a breakfast together, she told me she's with her parents in the same hotel, and they have a plane back home in a couple of hours. I was left perplexed, as I realized she might have been underage. I was in my 30s at that time, and didn't know much about her, other than her name was Emily, and she was from Richmond, Virginia, if any of it true. Never heard of her anymore, but man, that first night on the strip was the beginning of 2 crazy months in Las Vegas. Story 17. Story time. Our group of friends were chilling at a table in a bar. This guy and girl at the bar counter have been chatting for a while, and it seems like it's going well. But the girl keeps looking around for other options as the night goes on. So we buy the guy a drink and ask our waitress to say it is from an admirer. The girl meals after the drink arrived, but now she was eyeing other girls like a hawk. Fast forward about 10 mins and her arms were wrapped around him, making out at the bar. Story 18. Went good. Bought a guy a beer because he was nervous I was standing behind him. He asked to make sure I didn't have an issue with him, which I didn't. I was standing there as things were getting dicey with some people I was at the bar with, and fists were about to be thrown between them and some random people. I was just staying in the vicinity in case a brawl broke out. I was staying far enough to not fan the flames, but close enough I would be there to help in a few seconds. Sat and had a beer with the guy. He was pretty cool. Story 19. Only ever bought a stranger a drink after talking to them for at least a few minutes. Best things to happen. A woman's phone number, ended up at a weird but super chill and safe house party, and was given a safe ride back to my hotel, made new friends, got at least half my bar tab paid for, even if I was buying for a large group and we had food, made a friend for life. Worst thing to happen? Literally nothing, as in nothing happened. They either drank the beverage and thanked me or left it and went home when they were done. Story 20. I once had a very angry woman yell at me after buying her a drink and not asking for her number. I was at a club in Scottsdale, Arizona when my friends and I decided to leave. Some of our group went to look for other members of our group, and I headed for the door. There was a small stand-up table by a bar near the door, and a woman was at the table seemingly waiting for her friends, too. I walked up and was chatting while waiting. I hadn't even thought about flirting or hitting on her. I was just being polite. The bar announced last call, and since my friends still hadn't made it back, I figured I would get one last drink as there was no line at the bar. Out of politeness, I asked this woman if she wanted a drink, so I bought us both drinks and continued to chat. Eventually, my friends all showed up. I told her to have a good night and left. Since my friends were pretty sauced, it was taking a bit to get them moving in the direction of our cars. Suddenly, this woman walks by with her cadre of friends yelling and berating me for not asking for her number. She just kept saying over and over, "I can't believe you didn't ask for my number. I can't believe it." I apparently offended her for not asking for her number. Story 21. I'm an expat. I was at a bar with my partner and I saw a group of guys, maybe like 5, laughing and talking together, having a good time. It reminded me of home and my buddies I'd go out with and have a good time with at the pub. So I ordered them all a shot of vodka, including me and my partner. They came over and cheersed me and asked why I ordered them shots. I told them, they said thank you, and later 2 shots arrived with a plate of assorted finger food for my partner and I from them. It was nice. It was Story 22. Only the bad ones stand out. One dude, I bought a drink and he decided he needed to draw me a picture. It was literally directionless scribbles on a napkin. Then he started to explain how the secrets of the universe were explained by it. Maybe it was. I don't think so. I excused myself and bounced. Another time, me and a dude were getting along, so I bought him a drink. It was good times. He said he needed a ride home, so I obliged. He lived like 30 minutes south in another town, and when we arrived, he didn't want to get out of my car, and he started getting angry. It was fine though, and he eventually got out, but by then I forgot how I got there. I think my phone died, or I wasn't getting service or something because it took me a while to find the freeway again. Not great. Story 23. I do it all the time since I frequent places with $2 beers and $4 cocktails. It's an awesome way to introduce yourself. I do it for males, females, bar staff, whoever. Just don't go in with the expectations that they have to talk to you. Make sure you convey the energy that you want them to have a good time. If they want to talk more, let them. If not, don't be pushy. You're not buying their attention. You're giving a thoughtful gesture. I usually say, "Hi, how are you? I'm MPBH." Get their vibes if it's good. "Hey, you seem pretty cool. Can I buy you a drink?" Probably would have similar success making friends and romantic partners without buying the drink. But it's a nice gesture that doesn't cost too much. Most of the guys will return the favor. Some of the girls will too. And the bar staff. This is where things really pay dividends. At my usual spots, I've probably gotten more free drinks than I have spent on drinks for the staff. Mainly cocktails that some customer doesn't like. I will drink literally anything and they know it. When you come in, they light up and the other customers see it and know you're a friendly person. They tell new customers, "Hey, go talk to that guy. He's super friendly and likes to meet new people." They'd probably do that regardless, but the occasional beer for the staff doesn't hurt. Story 24. I've bought lots of people lots of drinks, usually just as a friendly gesture that I'm enjoying their company and the conversation, but one time has stuck with me 20+ years. I was in college bartending on the weekends, and this night I was second on, so I helped open and then sat at the end of the bar having a drink until it got busy enough to start working. While I'm sitting there, a girl walks up and strikes up a conversation with me while she orders a drink. The conversation's flowing, we're laughing and having a good time long enough for another drink to be needed, so I buy her one, and I think we did a shot as well. More time goes by, and I offer to get her one more drink, and she asks if she can have a beer also. Since I work there, I'm not really paying for these drinks, so I oblige and get her the beer too. She then wishes me a good night, strolls away to the pool tables up front, and hands the beer to her boyfriend, who's been up there the whole time. 2 cocktails, 1 shot, and a beer. Well played, mystery girl. Well played. She knew exactly what she was doing, and goddamn did I respect her for it. Story 25. Probably not the intent of this post, but I took my wife to a country line dancing spot in Davie. We were having a good time, and when I went to the bar to get us another round, I saw this older gentleman that honestly could have been Bill Belichick's twin brother, but much happier looking. He seemed to be well-known, so I just greeted him and said something like, "It's always nice to see someone who's nice enough that everyone will take time out of their busy work evening to come say hi and chat for a bit." Says a lot about a person. I asked the bartender to get him another round on me. I shook his hand and went back out to dance, and when I got back, the bartender said he really appreciated the kind Hester and left me a beer as a thank you. Super cool and genuine encounter, I thought.